All right, so last time we talked about network layer at the data plane. Now we are going to talk about control plane. Again, we are using the slides from this book, Computer Networking, a top-down approach. So in the control plane, actually, we have many goals. One of them is to understand principles behind network control plane. So there are traditional routing algorithms, SDN controllers, network management configuration, instantiation, implementation in the internet, and there are many protocols here where routers actually talk to each other and obtain the route for a IP address and so on. So this part I'm not going to talk about. These are the since we are mostly interested in the security part, we are going to talk about some of the attacks in the future. So I'm only want to talk about Internet Control Message Protocol, ICMP. Okay. Yes, let's talk about this protocol. This is used by hosts and routers to communicate network level information like error reporting, unreachable host network, port protocol, or echo request reply used by ping. So remember that we use traceroute to detect the route and how long it takes to communicate. So here actually we will give an example and see how it really worked. Okay. So network layer above IP, ICMP messages carried in IP datagrams. ICMP message consists of type, code, plus first 8 bytes of IP datagram causing the error. So there are many types. Let's look at some of them. Echo reply. So this is used in ping. But other descriptions are like destination network unreachable, destination host unreachable, protocol unreachable, port unreachable, network unknown, host unknown. Source quench, this is used for congestion control, but in practice, we don't see much of it. So it is reserved, but never used. Echo request, again, ping, route advertisement, router discovery, TTL expired, bad IP header. As you can see, TTL expired is somewhat important for us. So recall that when we send the datagram, we determine the TTL. So every router, we mentioned that reduces it by 1. So when a router reduces it by 1 and it reaches 0, it sends this ICMP packet saying that TTL expired. So this is actually what we used in our trace route here. So let's now understand how it worked when we did it at the beginning of the course. So source sends sets of UDP segments to destination. So destination is here, so host is here. But initially, the client actually says TTL to 1. So it reaches this host. So host reduces to 0. Now sends then ICMP packet saying that TTL expired. So by looking at the time I send it and by looking at the time of the ICMP received, I can actually measure the, how long it takes. So this is why we had millisecond results on the screen. And actually, instead of sending 1 packet, we sent actually 3 packets. This is why we have 3 numbers when we use the traceroute. And traceroute actually explained in an RFC where you can, look at the implementation and so on. So this is for the first router. Then you do the same thing, but this time set TTL to 2. So now you measure the time from the second router. So of course, initially you don't know how many routers you will trace. So you don't know what the TTL should be to reach this. But good thing is that once you reaches here, you will receive another packet instead of TTL expired. But this way actually you reach your destination. So datagram in the end set arrives to end router. Router discards datagram and sends source ICMP message type 11 code 0. So if we go back, type 11 code 0 TTL expired, right? ICMP messages possibly includes name of router and IP addresses, and you can resolve them. When ICMP messages arise at source, record RTTs. Okay, this is the idea. So you send 3 copies and measure them. Stopping criteria, UDP segment eventually arrives at destination host. Destination returns ICMP port unreachable. So you might think that why this is the case. Actually, when we are sending these traceroute messages, we choose a port number which is actually randomly selected, or a port number which is, highest number that is allowed, so that we know that that port is not used by this server. So it sends back that port unreachable, type 3, code 3. So at this point, you know that you reach your destination. So you measure it and actually now know all of the timings from here to there.